Hello mga kababayan, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Laruan ni Obi-Wan. For this Sunday afternoon's review, presenting a customized figure of a He-Man and a King GraySkull. So let me walk you through the process that I did to these figures to achieve the purpose that I want. To make those two custom action figures, the requirements would be first to secure two of the Masters of the Universe Revelations He-Man action figure, which is actually still on clearance at your local targets. With regards to this guy, you could either find it online at Amazon for a really discounted price. So I've got two of these and two of these, and I'm just going to mix and match accessories and head swaps and actually not destroy or ruin the figures that are involved in this build. From this Retro Origins Masters of the Universe He-Man action figure, the accessories that we are after actually is just the harness, the sword, and the axe, and also the head. And from this Masters of the Universe Revelations He-Man action figure, of course, it's going to be the main body of the figure, the gauntlets and the forearm guards, the sword, and the axe too. So for weapons, the only weapons that I'd be using would be from the classic or the retro He-Man action figure, the smaller one. So two of the swords and two of the axes. So to differentiate between the King GraySkull figure and the He-Man action figure, the difference would only be on the color of the handle covers. So for the King GraySkull figure, this is the color that I assigned to. And as for the He-Man figure, considering that it is this color is much more closer to the one that I saw in the classic TV series, so I would use a silver handle cover. So with these two action figures, actually the thing that I really swapped between them is the chest harnesses. Actually, I already made a review of this action figure, a customized one, and you could just check out my playlists. So just presenting because we're building up to the custom GraySkull that I want. So let's do a quick 360 of this custom He-Man figure that I have on hand. So the sword finally, the gauntlets that I want, the shorter ones, just the forearm wrist protectors, and the axe. Sometimes I would display this with the shield, but majority of the time this is on my shelf without the shield. Presenting my third version of King GraySkull. Somehow I was thinking of my version of King GraySkull, not much following the concept of the 2002. Now building from the Masters of the Revelations King GraySkull, somehow it's okay, that figure, I have it on board and I'm keeping it, but somehow I would also like to have my version of King GraySkull. So somebody that resembles Adam or looks like Adam but is not Adam, but a grizzled or a seasoned warrior, an adult, and at the same time when you take a look at the other one, you know that this is Adam because you have a smaller head sculpt and a more youthful looking head sculpt compared to this other guy. Actually, the retro action figure, the head sculpts fits nicely on the ball socket of this Revelations action figure, and somehow the coloration is not that far. So actually the head really sits on nicely on the Revelations He-Man action figure that you could use it with it. So here you are, you have King GraySkull and He-Man. Now the only difference of course would be on the forearm guards. This would have a full-on forearm gauntlet. They would both share, of course, the power sword. They would both share the access. They would both share somehow the same chest harness. That is the thing that I would like to follow for my custom build, and the same, almost the same outfit, just a little bit or just a tad bit different. Okay, so for this King GraySkull, so let's put this figure aside and concentrate on this. As a medical professional, a licensed registered nurse, I would always take physical assessment, and I would always note that the face of the patient is okay, because if the patient would look pale, then there is something wrong with the patient. So I would automatically know and check vital signs with regards to patient's condition. So of course, how the patient looks is really important, and somehow the tone or the skin tone somehow is different, but at the same time similar to the rest of the body. Of course, you have a main artery that's leading from the heart directly to the head when blood pumps to recirculate oxygenated blood. So of course the head or the face would always be the more likely or more robust section of the body, that you know that the patient is having good circulation. So somehow using that rationale or medical excuse, that is the reason why I use this head sculpt with this base body. Somehow the shade is quite different, but it is really close. That is my point. Okay, so let's move from the back, which is the main difference between the He-Man action figure, because this King GraySkull, my custom King GraySkull, would have a cape on, and the He-Man figure would just have the sword retention system or the chest harness. Now the difference, of course, basing from the 2002 version, King GraySkull would always have that cape and would always have that big fluffy thing on his shoulder boards, and somehow I am not a fan of that. Considering you're going to have that big fluffy thing on your shoulder boards, but at the same time you are wearing nothing at all, so it is just better to go Spartan like or 300 like. So you have the chest harness and that cape, and you have that sword retention system. So this is from I think a Superman figure, so I just use it and made a really deep cut. So I just studied how this cape would flow to the back of the figure and made a really deep cut to accommodate the sword retention system, which is similar to the He-Man action figure that I have, which I already customized way before. So that is just the difference between these two head sculpts and the gauntlets. And of course, with regards to height, because of the difference of the head of this King GraySkull figure, the customized, it's a bit taller than my Adam figure. So this is my version of King GraySkull. So I hope you like it, and if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and see you on the next custom figure review.